Step 18, evaluate and revise processes. Look, at this point in time, we've identified the areas in the organization that would benefit from a good process, and you've created them. But now it's time to go and evaluate and revise the process if necessary. Oftentimes, organizations that are struggling to become excellent, they create process, put it in a drawer, and forget about it. But you should continually evaluate that. Why? Things in your organization, whether it's internal or environmental, are changing all the time. So what may have been appropriate a year ago may not be appropriate now. And we want to be objective as we're starting to evaluate these. So here's some key points that we want to make sure that we look at every time we're evaluating and or revising. First, we want to make sure that the process is aligned and it's driven by our vision and our organizational plan. It also has to be well documented. We want to make sure that there's no room for misinterpretation. If a process says do A, B, C, and D, we want to make sure somebody that can come from the outside, maybe a different department, maybe with a year's worth of experience and not 25, can follow those steps. They don't have to interpret them. It's very clear and very well documented. We also want to make sure it's repeatable. So if you can have a number of people come in and do the process, then you know it's clear, you know it's well documented, and you know it's repeatable. That's really important, that making sure that we have consistency along the way. So here are some key questions that you want to ask yourself. Are you looking at the current processes objectively, or are you finding reasons to say that they're perfect? Oftentimes people are looking at them saying, that's a great process, let's not spend the appropriate time to try to revise them. That's not how you should look at it. You should put a fresh set of sunglasses on and look at it from the very first time, as if you don't know the process. When I review process, I'll go and say, what's step one? What's step two? Now the people that work with me say, David, you know step one and you know step two. I know that, but I'm following what's documented. I want to make sure that I'm looking at it objectively and not filling in the blanks as my brain would naturally do. You know that when you're typing an email. Sometimes you forget words, but your mind fills them in. If you read it out loud, you'll notice the words are missing in your email. Same thing holds true here. Don't go into it with a preconceived idea. You also are going to have to ask yourself, if the processes need to be updated, need to be revised, what's your process? How are you going to make sure that they are updated? How are you going to attack that? Are you delegating it out? Are you redoing the process start to finish with a new set, fresh set eyes? What is it? You'll have to make those decisions. Within our company, one of the ways that I'll check the value of the current process is that I take and talk to my new hires. I'll take them out to lunch and I'll say, hey, what processes do you guys follow in your particular department? What have you learned? And they'll say, David, we do the following 4 processes. And I say, that's great. Were they understandable? Were they clear? If you took our playbook, did you follow start to finish, or did you have to ask a lot of questions? And sometimes I hear, it's perfect. I followed the bouncing ball and I got the desired outcome. Other times I hear, well, I really wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing. Now that may be a people person problem, but I really have to say, why was that? And they'll tell me that from their perspective, not knowing anything, it wasn't clear, it wasn't concise. They had to interpret what to do in each given step, and that's a problem. So excellent organizations have process in the key areas. They go back and review it constantly to make sure they've taken into effect anything that has changed internally or externally. You know, a bad process can come back and haunt you, because every organization, whether it's mine or whether it's yours, there is a ripple effect. If you have a bad process over here, it's going to show up over here as well. So you've got to make sure that you're not working on the symptoms, but you're working on the problem, which tends to be a couple steps ahead. Check out your processes, dedicate yourself to revise and review as often as possible.
The Road to Excellence, 6 leadership strategies to build a bulletproof business is on sale now at shop.sandler.com. Contact a local Sandler trainer to learn more about our Organizational Excellence Management Training Program, or click subscribe to get notified about future management tips.